kind of your dream list of values that you'd like to see? Let's say that the decentralized web was built in the way that you really wanted it to be built. What would it look like? We'll just start with you, Max.
So, hello. So I think that any publicly funded asset, be it science or government data, it should be possible with the web for anyone to help host that, to make the bandwidth and the storage, the commodities of the internet, be free for anyone to upload or download public information. Because we're losing research outputs every day. I actually wonder, I was joking, but I think this might be a serious question, which is disappearing faster, scientific research or species in the rainforest, or research about species in the rainforest. Because there's 404s happening every day, and we spend millions and billions of dollars funding science. And then the web is kind of failing science because we're using these brittle links. There's no way to look up duplicate copies. There's no mechanism built into the web so that I can help host the science that's important to me. It's very difficult. What if the Internet Archive could say, we want to build a new 27 petabyte cluster and host all of science forever? Where do they go and find the science? It's distributed across the web. We made it a system that's a little too decentralized, perhaps, and we need a mechanism built into it that can find duplicate copies. Right. So I think that there's some technical infrastructure that needs to happen, but I think it's super important that we start with the public institutions. I think it's also a very tangible and empathetic issue. I think that the frontier for all of us, like the battleground right now, should be scientific access to knowledge, or access to scientific knowledge specifically, because it's publicly funded and it's disappearing rapidly, and there's no solutions for scientists to share their research data online.
So maybe we could call the scientific papers an endangered species of data, where data can be its own type of species, and then we can work on ways to protect it and say it.
Yeah, and I mean, the discussion is getting forced by places like Sci-Hub, which is sort of the Napster of journal articles.
Right.
And it's sort of forcing all these publishers who are reselling public research to maybe go back and figure out if they are rethinking their business models. And
right.
I think that there's a huge opportunity right now to show people better options for the future built on decentralized technologies.
This is also an issue because the less access to research we have, the more money we spend on doing duplicate research. And then people don't remember it, and then other countries say, well, we have access to better research, so we'll just go over there and do that research there. Wendy, what do you think about all of this with the W3C? How can you guys help in the decentralized web and helping with access to journals and scientific information and the disappearing data that we have on the web?
I think one of the things that W3C does well as a standards organization is the building social consensus around interoperable standards. Because to be part of the web, you don't need to sign on to a grand agreement. You just need to speak HTML and HTTP and other standards, and you are part of the web. And those standards evolve to include new features as people decide that these are things that are useful, things that they are willing to implement and willing to test and to find interoperable sets of features. Those too can become part of the extensible web. They extend the platform and build out what we as users and publishers and developers on the web can do with it. So I think as sort of uses come up, we should keep the platform open to extension and keep the opportunity for people to come together and find those zones of agreement where something is now gelled enough that we can make that part of the platform and encourage the innovation up on a higher level. So we follow the layered principles on which the internet itself was designed, that there are standards in some places and then sort of innovation and diversity flourishes on top of those.
Primavera, you have a system that I'm going to summarize incorrectly, but you have a system in which, let's say somebody contributes to a project online and they get a kind of coin for more of what they contribute to. So let's say they contribute a lot, they get more coins, and with that they can vote. And if they slack off and don't contribute a lot, they can't vote as much. So people are rewarded for interacting with projects a lot more and contributing. Have you seen this type of system work elsewhere in other organizations? Have you seen it work historically? Do you have any evidence of how this has worked in the past or the present?
I would like to put this in context first, because actually I think this is an answer to your question. I think that if we look beyond the technical part of the decentralization, which is accessibility, interoperability, security, etc., I would say that, in my view, there are two things that are that could be a potential obstacle to full decentralized web, and one is the discoverability, and the other one is the incentivization. So, in terms of discoverability, the thing is that, I mean, we do have we do have all the information we can think of. It is important that this information be accessible, be archived, etc. But if we look today, actually, the way in which we access all this overflow of information, it is through intermediaries. And actually, even though we do have a decentralized system for hosting the information, there is these new intermediaries which are actually the new gatekeeper to the information, because there is just too much information. And so people rely on Google, they rely on Facebook, on Twitter, in order to actually obtain or discover what is the information that they consider to be the most interesting. And so I think that this is actually, this is an additional layer, perhaps. It's not really at the technical level, but we do need mechanisms that enable people to discover in a decentralized manner what is the information that they will be the most interested in. And that this should not be like some kind of objective reality, in the sense that today I can just connect on Google and I can search information and I will get what Google consider to be objectively the most relevant information, but this actually might not fulfill my own personal values. Or maybe I want to look at the world according to a particular metrics, and then we need to design systems that will enable people to actually become intermediaries in a peer-to-peer or decentralized manner. And then the second point is the incentivization, which is, I think that's one of the core issue with open source, for instance, is that how do you actually incentivize people to contribute, right? And of course, there is a lot of people that have their own ideals and have social capital, etc. But there is a need to also attract more and more people that maybe would like to contribute, but they have to have a job and they have to do other things. So the model, the backfill model, is actually, it resolves those two problems by providing a tool for people to assess the value of things in a distributed manner, and to provide some kind of rewards to the people that contributed this value.
Mm-hmm. So in summary, the discoverability is really important, not just about the just going to what Google thinks is the right search results for you, and then the incentivization, that even if you have a full-time job, just a little bit of contribution and incentivizing that is a good way to go.